And I do like that they give the warning. Give your stuff time to cool down before you remove things. So, but yeah. Yeah, do it with the Subaru. Cool. So we did identify that it is what is it? Is it Devanagari? Is that how we would pronounce that? Um, I'm nifty. Okay. So let's figure out how to replace my Subaru alternator as though I don't already have the manual. So let's. Mine is a 2005. 3.0 liter R LL Bean edition. I always call it the Eddie Bauer edition, but it's LL Bean. That is what I've got. And we're going to see if we can find a Chilton's manual for that online. Oh, and I'm going to return this now so that somebody else can take it back, because the deal with the way that the Internet Archive works as a library is you check something out and somebody else can't take it out. So when you are done using it, you should return it. It is the polite thing to do. And I'm trying to figure out, because I installed this extension that I'm trying to figure out how to use, but I think that I don't necessarily want to have notes on this page. I think I want to have overall notes for what's going on here. So I think I want Simple Note, actually. So let me see if I can log into Simple Note in another window. Is this helpful or entertaining at all, or is this just kind of like a why are we doing this sort of thing? Would would we like to talk about media stuff? Are we interested in talking about cars still? Should I switch to looking at computer stuff? I do have media commentary stuff. I've got 3 stories specifically that are about like tech media. The fuck am I looking for? There we go. I also didn't get very much sleep last night. Sorry. And Simple Note. Okay. I'm going to scream. I just want people to have fucking passwords. Okay, there we go. I don't want people to send me a fucking code to my email to log into things. I just want fucking passwords and an authenticator. I don't want passkeys. I'm going to be aggro about that basically forever. But I'm trying to collect the notes of the stuff that we're doing for these so that I don't have to kind of go reconstruct them after the fact. Sorry, I'm now doing many things in the background to try to make notes. This is all stuff that I was hoping to prep before the thing, but then I just sort of ran out of time. Sorry. Thought I was getting alternate browser set up. So okay, new note. There we go. Okay, sorry. You know that thing where I like get aggro, where I'm having emotional dysregulation issues because of software. I'm having emotional dysregulation issues because of software. So because there's just a whole bunch of stuff that it wants to do. So I'm just going to make sure to save various things. Because as I'm sure you've also noticed, I have opened up many, many pages here. Why did that not paste? Simple Note is not going to work for the purposes that I was hoping it was going to for this. It is deeply annoying the way in which it is not going to work, and I'm going to close that window now before I lose my cool. So I'm going to check in on chat because I've been in my own little world of yelling in my head for a couple minutes. All right, so apparently Wikipedia says it's Devanagari. Okay, hopefully I'm bad at pronouncing things. We know this. Yeah, it's always nice to. Also, by the way, if anybody does not have the Wikipedia app installed on their phone and does not have an account for it, it's so fun to use the actual app and have it like open things up and like. I have so many tabs open about nuclear accidents. Like, not nuclear accidents, but like radioactivity accidents. Like, it's like the way that it allows you to dig into a Wikipedia hole is delightful. And also there are little games on it, like figuring out which thing happened earlier or later in history. The Wikipedia Act is a delight. VINs, one of the things, so Potato Shoe says, neat, I have learned more about VINs. One of the nice things about VINs is VIN lookup is free and effective. Yeah, I'm awful at the what happened first minigame. So VIN lookup. So yeah, VIN decoder stuff, VIN decoder free. I ended up using this like a bunch with the piece of shit Subaru. There are, okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, I should have just actually read that and clicked that. But yeah, there. Okay, so what you need for this, if you're looking at your car and you want more information about it, is you enter the VIN, which if you were looking at your vehicle, it will be on a sticker on the inside of the driver's door, or on a sticker on the dashboard, like way up at the front, or on a sticker in the engine compartment, kind of like up by the like driver's side, or sometimes like on like the trunk area. And it's like a 17-digit number. It's people say VIN number, and it's one of those things like ATM machine. It stands for vehicle identification number. Yeah, this is an exceptionally useful tool. I think I may have this up somewhere on my site. But basically, you put your vehicle identification number into here, and you put your model year, and it'll spit out all the information about things like, anytime you're in a car accident, part of the reason that you're supposed to call the police is they're supposed to take down the VIN, and that means that it goes on the car's record in this database, so that if there's, say, frame damage and they're selling the car, you can... Okay, cool. It did tell you info. Interesting. Like, this is one of the things that I would now say to anybody who is looking to do an online purchase of a car, like after my experience with getting scammed by that asshole. Always look up the VIN before you purchase the car. I should have done it. And it would have told me immediately that he was lying to me about the provenance of the car. And it was stupid of me not to do that. And so that's part of why I'm also telling people to do this, just generally speaking. If somebody refuses to give you a VIN before they will sell you a car and you're attempting to do a person-to-person purchase on Craigslist or something like that, they're fucking with you. You can't buy the car. Don't buy the car. Fuck, it's March, isn't it? Not only is it March, it's late March. I think my car registration for the Subaru was due last month. Fuck. So I think I've got a late fee on that. So, yeah. Oh, it is the equinox. Today is my would have been my mom's birthday. So that's it. She would have been 69. Nice. Yeah. But okay. So yes, VIN, very helpful. And the VIN will also tell you that was the thing that actually the VIN was the thing that told me that he had lied about the engine size. That I thought that it was like a 2.6 liter, but it was actually a 3 liter, and it's like, oh no, I need to go look up a whole bunch of other information. So thank you for the happy birthday. So, and yeah, it is what it is. So mom was great. Again, that's the reason for the teapot was I actually got this on her birthday, and it was like it was one of the first things I did during COVID that it was like, okay, I'm going outside of the house. I think it was 2022, and Large Bastard and I took a trip to Vegas because my mom loved going to Vegas, and so we stayed at the hotel that my mom liked, and um, went. My mom loved the stupid car show on the History Channel, Counts Customs, and at one point she took me to Vegas to. I love my mom. She was such a funny lady. She wanted to see like one of the like Chippendale shows or something. It was the Magic Mike XXL show. And she was like, well, your dad and your sister would think it was weird to go with me. Will you go with me to see the strippers? It's like, of course, Mom. I'd be happy to. Let's talk about strippers' rights and unionizing among sex workers while we're like driving to Vegas for 4 hours. But while we were in Vegas for that trip, she wanted to go to the Counts Customs shop in the Rio casino, and they had it Counts Customs is a car painting place, but they also had a tattoo parlor. And she was trying to convince me to get a tattoo parlor from the shop because she liked it so much from the TV show. And I was like, I'm not going to get a random tattoo while we're here. But she got like a mug and everything, and it was cute and it was sweet. And it was like the last trip we took to Vegas before she passed away. And so when I went to get this tattoo as a memorial tattoo, I was trying to go to that shop, but like they closed down and then were also very weird about things. But instead, I ended up going to this guy who was like close to them because I'd already gotten a hotel room because like I had connected with the tattoo parlor. And but he was like also close to where I had lived in Vegas, and it was actually really cute. Like I showed him what I wanted and talked to him, and he helped me like make the design better. Because I knew what I wanted, but like I wanted it in a different way, and he was correct about making the design better. But we like talked about it a little bit and everything. And he had a mocha pot tattoo as a memorial for his grandfather. So at the end of the session, we had matching memorial beverage pot tattoos. It was a cute little moment. So that was a nice memorial thing to do for my mom. That was one of the things that I was really pleased about. So, but I always forget that her birthday was the equinox until it's like, oh, that's right, time is weird. Time is weird. Planets are strange. So, but yeah, now officially spring. It was 2 days ago. It was the last day of winter in Southern California. It was 102 degrees. Very normal. Okay, back to reading the chat because yeah, ADHD tax. Yeah, I have never heard of so many of the events on the Wikipedia games. So let's see. But yeah, no. Yeah, 80 there also very no. It's the weather has been little wild. I haven't needed any of my winter clothing. And like, I had lived in California. It wasn't like it was heavy duty winter clothing. I had lived here. It wasn't like it was heavy duty winter clothing. But I haven't needed any of it since I moved back from Vegas because it was just colder in Vegas in the winter than it was here. And it's like, literally, I have jackets that I haven't used in 5 years. Like, yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, also, by the way, I don't know if this is your first time chatting, David. Hi. Yeah, no, it, it's just been. Oh, I also got mad trying to take notes. Okay, that's correct. All right. Okay. So, uh, Subaru Outback LLB in edition. We are going to attempt to find the uh, find the manual for it, because actually I got a Haynes manual for mine, but it it is actually for, because I bought it before I checked the VIN, it's actually for the 2.6 liter engine, not for the 3.0. So I actually have the wrong the wrong manual for my car. So, but yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to link directly to the one for my vehicle. See, nope, just to archive.org generally. But Subaru people are insane. So, and also Subaru is insane, and that's part of why I like them, is because you can find all kinds of manuals and stuff, because Subaru people are always very, very weird about their cars. But also, like, yeah, the reason that I was able to find the correct parts, even though I had the wrong manual, was because decline all but necessary. Because Subaru will just give you that. They're great. And there we go. View resources. So they're very expensive if you're having them doing the... man. The website is down. So they don't have that info handy at the moment. But like one of the... Oh, well, no, wait. Manuals. Okay, I think this is an information delivery issue, not a Subaru is no longer giving the information issue. Well, fuck. So this is one of the other things I was doing, like, as I was trying to get stuff set up for the stream, I was trying to, like, get the Firefox Nightly installed to be, like, kind of comparable to, like, my normal browser. So I just went to try to click on the archive.org extension, because I could see if there was an archived version of this page that maybe did have links to archive stuff that I could have used, but I haven't gotten the extension installed yet. So, but hey, fuck it. Does anybody want to, if anybody is unfamiliar with adding extensions to Firefox, which if you're here and you've been following me for a while, you probably know how to add extensions to Firefox, but fuck it, let's do it anyway. Extensions and themes, find more, and it's not used by a ton of people, and but I do want to use the one that actually is used by like a more reasonable amount of people. What's the actual one that I use called? Okay, so is it just the Wayback Machine? Sorry, again, I'm trying not to click too much in like my primary browser, but yeah, maybe it's just Wayback Machine. Yeah, okay, it's the Wayback Machine one. This is the one that I found is active, and it is actually by the Internet Archive. There are not a ton of users, and it's not monitored for updates, but it is really, really effective. So we're going to add it to Firefox. And this is one that I recommend to people, and I use it all the time for research. And you can turn it off if it's not something you use frequently, but again, I use it all the fucking time. I'll have to organize that later. But... so we would come back over here to, no, different nightly. There we go. Okay. So we would come back over here to the vehicle resources, and now that I've got this added, okay, yes, fine. Yes, accept and enable. That's cool. Yes, I wanted to, there. Okay. That was not what I wanted. Where was my Subaru? Okay, there. Yes, okay. So now I can go see like the oldest version of this page and see, nope, or if it hasn't been archived. Sometimes it hasn't, sometimes it has been de-archived, but it's definitely worthwhile to like look for that kind of shit. So also I'm just going to show like, okay, cool. So we've got like looking at this page, this is going to have been archived because people do save this sort of information all the time. Well, maybe not. But yeah, you can select like calendar dates and it'll take you, yeah, I guess it just takes you to archive. But yeah, like it'll, if you go to a URL and it's like not showing up, it'll, well, you should absolutely, fuck. Okay. Sorry. If I happen to come across something that I've been looking at and I find that it hasn't been archived, I archive it because somebody else might need to look for that in the future. But yeah, Wayback Machine is so fucking great. Oh, yes, the technology connections dishwasher videos are so good. I changed the dishwasher soap I buy as a result of that. Um, but what? Sorry, huh? Um, yeah, not getting to wear the wool all winter. Sorry, we're talking about, okay. Oh, dishwasher broke. That sucks. So, but hopefully it's running okay. Uh, yeah. Water shut off being inaccessible sucks. Databases? What about databases? Yeah, they're Honda guys are out there. So, because Hondas are a huge part of the tuning market, so people like fuck around with them. So, but they're definitely not as weird about stuff as Subaru people are. Yeah, the stuff that's like the worst to fix is the stuff that combines water and electricity. So dishwashers are definitely nightmare territory. But yeah. Oh, good. It seems so. Like, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Knock on wood. That should be relatively. Yeah, plastic parts are really fucking annoying. So, uh, oh, I need to replace my hose faucet thing. You have reminded me. I have a leak under my sink that I decided to fix by putting a bowl under it. Um, and then I forgot that there was a bowl under it. Um, that's a very good point. My former IT tech buddy has ruined a lot of movies and things for me by ranting about how long water in a sprinkler system has sat and how gross it'll be when it comes out. Yeah, there is definitely an odor. Yeah, the technology connections videos on dishwashers rule. They are technology connections videos are all like pretty awesome. Let's go. Let's go. We It's an hour and 40-minute video. We're not going to watch it, but we should just observe the beauty that is technology connections. Oh, well, I'll show you my favorite technology connections thing. Why I did not. That's not what I asked for. Please, no. I even have my meds. Like, um, I guess I'm out of half of my meds, but like I have some of my meds. I should be more normal than this. Sorry, I will go to the dishwasher, but the clapper video is the one where he's wearing my shirt. Um, so
Hello and
oh,
welcome to
okay.
Hold on a second. Hello and welcome to No Effort November, a series of videos for the month of November where I try my best to not try so hard.
First of all, I like his ethos for a lot of reasons that you can probably see, but also that's a shirt that I designed. That's one of my drawings that's up on Tumblr. Yeah, uh, let's see if it's linked right on the side there. No, but the technology connections dishwasher videos are they're they're great. I think he's got 3, maybe 4 now, because I think he sent something off to a lab recently. He's fantastic because he like gets really, if you're not familiar with this channel, basically he gets really mad about things and and I'm so sympathetic to this. I love his channel. So he gets really mad about things and then like goes off to prove them. Your dishwasher is better than you think is the introductory video on this subject. So I'm going to drop that there. And it is the short version that explains basically the fact that dishwashers are really, really efficient and really, really good at what they do. And you probably need to put less effort into them than you have been putting into them. And then he did. Where's the long video? I think there's a longer video, isn't there? Or is it just the dishwasher? Do I just watch everything in a playlist because I just like his channel? But basically, yeah, he got mad about detergent packs and spent a long time researching them and talking about like how dishwashers work. And like one of the things that he does in these videos is like he cut a hole in the side of a dishwasher and like put a clear piece of like Lexan there or something like that so that he can actually film the inside of a dishwasher working to show you like what's going on. And he's also got it connected to an output that is like just dumping into like a plastic like Rubbermaid tote, because they use so little water when they're cleaning that you can do that effectively. But he also shows you like this is what the water looks like at the end of each cycle. This is how much comes off. Hey, once you've done this, like, and the deal with the dishwasher packs is like if you're doing any kind of pre-rinse or anything like that, like essentially by the first time the dishwasher empties, all of the soap is out of the system. If you, well, no, wait, sorry, my bad. If you just throw it in there, like, so if once the door opens, it's just like in the system. But basically because of the fact that everything like dissolves all at once, like it doesn't make any fucking difference that they've got these different like packets or anything like that. They just all work at the same time. So yeah. He's great. It's good videos. I like him a lot. I also really like it's not exactly that I want to like feel sanctimonious or anything like that, but I do really like when like, you know, he's talking about like those little micro fridges, and the way that they work is by having something that like kind of cools on one side by like heating on the other, and it's like, okay, cool, but it doesn't actually have a compressor, and so it doesn't actually make things cold, and they're actually really fucking inefficient, and like they kind of suck. Stop spending money on them. And it's like makes me I do like being able to like tell people, no, those things are shit, don't get them. Here, you can get this actual thing instead, it'll work better. And then you can fix it. And he also talks about fixing things. And he had a wonderful video kind of shit talking like really hardcore home what you call it, home dehydrator. Yeah, good videos. I like them a lot. But yeah, he's wonderful. And there have been a couple of moments where I've been watching YouTube and I've been like, holy shit. And one is in the Dan Olson line goes up video. At like minute 51 of that or whatever, he pulls up, he quotes David Gerard's book, Attack of the 50-Foot Blockchain. David Gerard is Red Drag Diva on Tumblr, and the cover of the book is my drawing. He commissioned me to do the cover. So I remember watching that with Petty after he got out of the hospital for his transplant and everything like that, and was recovering, and is, you know, laying in bed, and we're both just sitting there, and suddenly, like, you know, I'm forcing him to watch a 2-hour video about NFTs, and we're both like, why is my drawing on the screen? And then, yeah, sitting here and watching this, like the Clapper video came up after I had like seen the dishwasher video for the first time. I was like, oh, cool. Then let me click through and watch. He has a great video about awnings too, and it has actually reduced my home cooling bills. And then, yeah, seeing him wearing my shirt, it did actually make me, I think I turned off the ability to purchase the shirt on Redbubble, or like I took down a ton of the stuff that I had on Redbubble because Redbubble's print quality has declined, and I thought it was just on the stuff that I was ordering from them, and I had bad luck. But seeing how badly the print was faded on his shirt, I was just like, oh, I don't want people buying this because it's gonna look too bad. Like they're just shit now. So it was like kind of really cool to see that he was wearing the drawing, but also like, oh man, I wish that didn't look that bad. So yeah, the awnings are great. Like you know, this is Southern California. It's hot. It's been really fucking hot here. And this house was built in 1963, and it's got like single pane windows that were installed with the house. And so they're not really offering a ton of insulation. And we have like an extremely long south-facing wall where all of the rooms have large windows. And Large Bastard is a cave troll, so he's perfectly fine putting reflectix on the inside of the windows that he's got in his shop and everything to keep it from getting too hot. But even then, it still gets hot because the light is hitting the window and radiating inside, even if you're reflecting it like as soon as it hits, according to Technology Connection's measurements of the issue. And so, yeah, it's like I didn't even get awnings. I honestly just got sunshades and just basically bolted them to the outside of the windows because we always keep blackout curtains closed in at least 2 of those rooms anyway. So it's like, yeah, if we can keep those 2 rooms cooler as a result of just making sure light is not hitting the window, like our power bills in Southern California are ludicrous, like really, really crazy. So, you know, if it can reduce it even by 5%, it's a huge, huge deal. So, but yeah, awnings are great. So, But yeah, let's see. No, Idaho is really hot. People don't. I also don't know if people are like properly modeling the environments that they live in, or if they're just remembering the environments they used to live in. So, but yeah, he's wonderful. This is yeah. So highly recommend. Oh, that's the interesting. That's exactly the rice cooker I own. I haven't watched that video. Neato. But yeah, heat load is really it's again in the vein of talking about things that aren't all shit. I think it's worthwhile to like really hone in on stuff that we understand is like good and have improved on. Like I really am impressed with the way that people have reacted to uh uh like urban heat not heat sinks, what is it? But basically the fact that like LA gets hot because it's all concrete, and the way that people have reacted to that by being like, hey, how about we do less of that? Heat Island, thank you. But yeah, like uh, people have reacted to that really effectively by being like, oh, how can we that yeah, you're absolutely correct. How can we improve that? And like it turns out you can improve that by like making sure that there are like trees planted, because that actually cools things down in like by having shade, and also just by like being stuff that's not concrete. And LA also has done a really impressive job for a long, long time. We've had huge issues with runoff, like rainwater runoff and everything like that. And like our water table is getting all fucked up and everything like that, and everything just goes straight to the ocean because again it's all fucking concrete. We've done a really good job in the last like 5 years of making LA County more like spongy, so it actually like more of the water when it rains gets absorbed into the ground, and also like makes it less likely that everything is going to be just full of people like spinning out on freeways. So like again, it's good to reflect on the fact that like we are actually learning shit like that. There's cool shit happening with carbon sequestration. Like a lot of oceanography stuff has, sorry, my hair is caught in my glasses. A lot of oceanography shit has been focused on carbon sequestration, and it's great. And yeah, permeability. My sister's crazy. This is renting my dad's house. It's a big house. It's got a big yard. It's like a quarter of an acre, which is huge in LA County. It's enormous in LA County. And it's got a big, long backyard. And at the moment, it's largely weeds. And my sister was like, you should just pave the whole thing. And I'm going like, no, I don't want to just put concrete and have more thing. The water needs to go into the ground. Like, so, because yeah, people just do like, hardscaping is so fucking common because it's easy. It's easy and comparatively inexpensive and doesn't require upkeep the same way. So, but yeah, it absolutely sounds like a good way to flood the house. And there's still a lot of driveway and everything too. But it's really interesting that you can tell the areas of like learning anything about like geology and geography like changes the way that you interact with your environment, because it's like, yeah, the soil here is largely sand. Like it's very clear that this is a river basin, and because if you dig down a couple feet, like you're not really hitting clay, you're hitting sand, just like actually really good sand, like sand that you could use in construction and shit like that. But the topsoil kind of sucks. So it's like, yeah, if you do anything to like change the absorption of this even like relatively minimally, you're just gonna flood the house, especially because like the backyard's higher than the house and the backyard's the long parts. That's the part that's getting the water angled down toward our house. So but yeah, no, and pave over the plants. I'm also trying to encourage, like, I don't have a ton of native plants here. Again, this is not really my house. It's kind of my house, but not really my house. So like, my dad planted bougainvillea out front, and he likes the bougainvillea. He wants the bougainvillea to stay. He wants part of the yard at least to be a little bit of a lawn, and it's like, okay, I can compromise on some of these things, but like, I'm going to be not installing, but planting trees, or allowing the trees that we weren't sure if we wanted to keep on the property to grow because of carbon sequestration. Because that's actually like really good for the environment and shit like that. Like, let's make sure that we've got big bushes and things like that. And I basically just don't mow for the vast majority of the yard and the vast majority of the year because I'm like, I would like butterflies and bees and pollinators and spiders and things like that. Those are really great little critters to have around, and I want them. So we've got a bumper crop of spiders this year. We lost all of our spiders in the like tropical storm a couple of years ago, and so we're finally getting good spiders back, and that's great. So, but yeah, paving over the plants are not a great idea. So, and eventually I would like them to be like, eventually maybe someday I'll have time to work in the yard. So, but yeah, spiders are wonderful. Spiders are great. I have a fantastic little orb weaver that's living next to my kitchen window. I'm so excited that she's there. So, your hair versus glasses thing reminded me last Saturday I was coming back from an in-person event and saw someone at a gas station pump with the same hair as you, natural color, bright dye. And had to tell myself there was no way you'd hopped on a plane to my yard or rented a car in an 8-hour span. I do crazy shit, but it was not me because I was tired last weekend. So yeah, the bougainvillea with the thorns are. I had to get special gloves. I had to get special shoes. The bougainvillea will like it punctured through like 3 pairs of skate shoes because that's mostly what I wear. So like skate shoes and tennis shoes just don't hold up to it. So I had to get like hiking boots, but also that did lead to the fun photo set on Tumblr where when I was moving here and I needed to trim the bougainvillea, I couldn't find my boots, but I could find my platform demonias. So I went out and I trimmed the bougainvillea while wearing 6-inch platform demonias, fishnets, cargo shorts, and like black lipstick. That was a fun day. So, oh yeah, good seeing the baby spiders around. I'm glad that you are being very brave about letting the spiders live in your apartment so that they kill bugs for you. It's a really wonderful way to first of all handle pest control, but secondly, the more you hang out with the spiders, the less they'll creep you out. The more used to them you get, and yeah, the more you learn about them. Like, I just love spiders. What was I doing the other day where spiders came up? I mean, there was the thing with the orb weaver. I have so many pictures of spiders on my phone. I had to clean the other day, so I had to capture a couple spiders and take them out of the bathtub and put them elsewhere. And then somebody else, like, yeah. I scare people with the way that I handle spiders because people just don't know about spiders. Spiders are great. Spiders are great. They don't want to hurt you. They're not going to cause you a problem. Spiders are wonderful. Yeah, anything that eats mosquitoes gets a pass. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So we have this owl. And the owl is really good at hiding from me now because it does not want me to look at it because it doesn't like my camera because I try to take pictures of it because I'm like, I'm so excited that there's an owl living in my tree because the owl's great at eating pests. This is another thing that I do want to encourage. But the owl's so good at hiding from me now that the only way that I can tell the owl is still there is by finding owl pellets underneath the tree that it lives in, which now means that I need to move the little pen that Tiny Bastard gets to spend time out in the sunshine in because it's like exactly where the owl likes to puke all the time. So I'm like, owl, I really like that you're eating pests and things like that, but can you please stop owl pelleting my little dog kennel? So you piss them off by copying them. How do you copy the owls? It like sounds like doing owl calls. Yeah. Puzzles, thankfully, will not try to eat anything that's above her head level. So the venomous spiders, like black widows, don't get to be in the house. They can be outside, but only if I can herd puzzles away from where they're going to be. Brown widows don't get to be in the house. They can be outside. I'm not there. That's not going to be too much of a big deal if Tiny Bastard like encounters them. But yeah, the black widows. I felt so bad. There was a black widow that was in. They don't get to be in the house, and I was trying to put her in a cup and move her, and she like moved right as I was using the cup to trap her, and I squished her, and I felt really bad. That was just, felt really bad. I just wanted to put her outside. So, but yeah, owls are pretty stupid. I don't make the owl noises at the owl, but I do make crow noises at the crows, and I croak at the ravens. And they like me for that. The owls, I'm sure they would dislike it if I was talking to them, but the crows and the ravens like it when I talk to them, which is fantastic. So we have a lot of them because we have a street that people drive very quickly on and a lot of feral cats. Keep your cats indoors, folks. So, but yeah, yeah. I did pretty well with moving the spider that I was moving yesterday because it was a big cellar spider that was like trying to get out of a bathtub, but like, they can't get out of the bathtub, but that it was like trying so hard to get away from me, and I'm like, and I was holding a pitcher to like clean with, so I was just like trying to gently scoot it into the pitcher, and it was just like really upset. I'm like, out you go. There you go, buddy. Good job. Because they're so fragile, I don't want to pick them up in my hands because I'm worried I'm going to hurt them. So, yeah. Yeah. So a couple years ago, late at night, I had the most determined daddy long legs that kept coming back and crawling over my blanket, and I flicked it away 4 times before he gave up. So yeah, sometimes they're just really, really interested in being right there. So I am, yeah, I am a little wasps. I can be sympathetic to that fear. I don't try to discourage them. I just also don't want to be around them. So, and if I am around them, I'm pretty unhappy about it. Um, oh, cool. Living close to a raptor preservation area, so there are a ton of eagle hawks and so on. We are pretty close. We're pretty close to the Angeles National Forest. We are pretty close to like kind of a wilderness area within a suburb. And then my yard has also become kind of like a like mildly rewilded area. And we've got like the feral cat issue, so we've got a lot of scavengers. So we have a ton of hawks and buzzards and crows and ravens in the area. So not a ton of small birds. A lot of hummingbirds, actually. We have a lot of hummingbirds around here. The area used to, Southern California, everything used to be an orchard. I think the hummingbirds like it because of how many orange trees and shit there are around. So, yeah, I definitely get nervous. Thankfully we have not had any wasps in the house. There are not a ton of wasps in this area. I don't know why, but not a lot around here. Definitely not a lot compared to bees. We get a ton of bees, and lots of carpenter bees. But yeah, I haven't. Oh yeah, egrets. Yeah. So yeah, we have some egrets fairly nearby in the local wetlands, and that's totally wild to me. I didn't grow up in an area with them, and you'll drive down the highway and see them with a little plot of land. They're staked out one after another. That's, yeah, I'll have to see if I can find the picture. I took a picture of it when I was walking my cousin's dog a couple of years ago. There was an egret just hanging out on top of somebody's house, and like I took a fantastic picture of it, like looking at the camera, so it just looks like the Slender Man of birds. Like, you know, there was a, it's. That was the thing that I was thinking of the other day with spiders is like somebody on Tumblr made a post where it was like, can't recommend enough getting obsessed with, some kind of creature or plant so that every time you go outside you have an experience. And it's like, yeah, that's me and spiders. I love going outside because there might be a spider out there. So, and same deal with birds where it's like, what kind of bird is that? Why is it living there? How does it do that? So, there's a coyote pack that lives somewhere along the river near where I live, and I hear them at night sometimes. Coyotes are very cool and make very unsettling sounds. They do. We have lots of coyotes here. Again, keep your cats inside. My neighbor is not literally the guy from the tweet about feeding your cats to coyotes, but most of the kittens get eaten by coyotes. It sucks. Fucking sucks. I'm so sad about it. I love cats. And this guy is just spay and neuter your pets. Keep your cats indoors. But yeah, it's rough. So, and coyotes, yeah, the way they it sounds terrifying. It's so I was at a conference. Oh, hey, I've got work stories. But I was at a work conference, and it was the same one where I had the like absolutely soul crushing statement at the Women in Tech panel from the Microsoft rep who had showed up, and it's, hey, what do you want to do at this conference at the Women in Tech panel? And her answer was, sell Copilot. Great, real inspiring, fantastic. I really feel like I'm represented in this industry. Jesus fucking Christ. So fucking but same conference, and tech conferences really love to liquor people up, and they really love to do this in their vendor halls. So the deal is that like the vendor hall was only open during like certain times of day, and the only time it was open was when it had an open bar, so that people would go give their like company info to like all of the vendors. And it's like, that's skeevy as fuck, but yes, I will in fact take this gluten-free cider, thank you. And it was such a weird time, but like, so it's an open bar, you're at a tech conference, people have traveled out of town for this and everything, and are like staying there, and the hotel that it was at was like this big hotel, like in Denver, but like outside of Denver, like you could see downtown Denver from the hotel, but it was like kind of in the middle of nowhere. It was like a really ugly hotel too. So it was like a McMansion meets the Overlook. It's called the Gaylord Arms. So if you wanna look at that, it's horrible. Like it's like something that's trying to be like grandiose, and instead it's just like a fucking Black Bear Diner. It was really odd vibes. But like, so it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, sort of. Like, it's like maybe at least like a quarter mile to a half a mile walk from the hotel to the nearest thing that's not on the hotel's property, which includes passing over some like fairly wide open undeveloped areas. Like there were a ton of prairie dogs and shit in the fields that were around it. Turns out there were also a ton of coyotes, because I'm walking out, and I have had my 2 gluten-free ciders at around like, let's say 8 p.m., something like that. And it's around 1 a.m. and I'm leaving the conference. I have eaten a salad of some variety or other. I have talked to a lot of people who definitely didn't expect whatever the fuck was happening there. This is when I developed that card game to teach people about fishing. So had a time and everything, and I'm good to drive now. In the U-Haul that I rented, because I couldn't rent a car because I didn't have an active credit card, so I got stuck at the airport and had to drive around the airport like 3 times with a very exciting man who hated Trump, who was like really interested in my opinions about II. It was an interesting trip. I had a good time. But like, everybody's been drinking at this conference. I'm sober enough to drive. I'm in my U-Haul. But to get to my U-Haul, I have to like leave this massive hotel in the middle of nowhere. And then, like, it's a big fucking parking lot. And then if you are going anywhere, like, that's even theoretically within walking distance, you're basically walking through a few fields before you get to kind of a suburban street. So I walk across the parking lot, leaving this place at like, whatever it is, 2 a.m., something like that. And the coyotes. I hear so many fucking coyotes as soon as I open the door of the hotel to walk to my truck. And I'm like, okay, that's not ideal. So I'm like walking, and as I'm walking, I'm hearing more and more and more of them. And they, if you haven't heard packs of coyotes, they yammer, they scream, they sound like a pack of demons coming for you. Like, they also sound like a pack of demons coming for you as they are ripping other animals apart, which frequently they are. Like, it's, you can hear it in this neighborhood when a coyote gets something. But that's the deal, is I'm like walking across the parking lot, and I'm like, I don't know if they got a rabbit, I don't know if they got a cat or something like that, but that has a lot of screaming coyotes. They are pretty close. And that is more coyotes in a group than I'm used to hearing. Because, we'll get packs that are like 5 to 10. This was a lot more than that. But I couldn't see them because it's, dark in this field around this parking lot. I was just like, okay. So I call Large Bastard because I'm like, I'm the only one in this parking lot. It's dark. There are a million coyotes. And I'm like, hey, if I start screaming in the next few minutes, this is the location that I'm at so that you can call 911 and tell them where I'm being attacked by coyotes, because I'm walking across this parking lot and I don't know where the fuck they are. And I'm disconcerted. And he was like, I can hear them through the phone. Yeah, go ahead and whatever. So I get to the car and everything, and then I'm just checking in with him about like the conference and all that. And I like continuing to drive, and then I'm like driving along the path out of the hotel, and there's a guy walking there who's got like one of the badges from the conference, and like he like sees the lights from my truck and he like starts waving at me, and I'm like, yeah, I would probably be waving at somebody driving by if I was walking along a dark path and I heard that right now. So I'm like telling Large Bastard on the phone, I'm like, okay, I promise I don't pick hitchhikers up, but this guy's gonna get eaten by coyotes if I don't drive him someplace. So I ended up, getting the guy who was shit-faced, but he was from the conference, and he was at an Airbnb that he's like, it was walking distance. I didn't think it was a problem. What was that? And I was like, that was coyotes. He's like, why are they here? And I'm like, they're rabbits and shit. There's fields and things like that. And he's like, well, what is going on? I'm like, yeah, it's usually not a problem. They're probably not going to attack you, but yes, I will drive you back to your Airbnb. So that was an interesting moment. But yeah, coyote packs. I don't want to fuck with them. I like that they're there. Honestly, they belong in the environment. That's the same deal with the story about the bear we were looking at last time or last week. But yeah, I don't want to fuck with packs of coyotes. That's not my problem. We get coyotes coming through the yard a lot because of the fucking neighbor's cats. So we have procedures in place to make sure that Tiny Bastard does not go outside unsupervised when there are potential coyotes around. But like, it's you don't like seeing them like coming up to your back door. It is definitely disconcerting. So at one point Tiny Bastard, like, and it was at my mother-in-law's house. It was Tiny Bastard and my mother-in-law's dog, like, they like started barking and they flipped out and they ran around the yard and everything like that. And then they ran back in and like we closed the door, like sliding glass door behind them and everything. We're like, okay, no problem, or whatever. Then about like 45 seconds later, they both lost their shit and started barking at the back door. And so I turned on the patio light, and then both me and my mother-in-law screamed because there was this big coyote walking towards the dogs, like through the sliding glass door. And my mother-in-law's dog like backs up and starts barking. A Tiny Bastard charges the glass, and it's like, no. The glass is there for a reason. I'm glad you're not actually fighting a coyote. Don't. So she is definitely does not know her own size. So but yeah, inside cats, because that's yeah, no, foxes sound a lot like small dogs, definitely. So hearing children crying at night, literally, okay, the thing, cats. The cats, sometimes I'm like, did a neighbor forget and like leave a baby outside in a high chair or something like that? And it's like, oh no, the cats are screaming at each other. So but like there are a couple cats that really sound like babies in this yard. So I hope your elbow has survived your calico bite. So and yes, I do want to see yeah, okay. Sure. Open this up in Nightly. We'll see your. Oh, she deserves to do the chicken crimes though. She needs the bones. The bones are good for her. She says, "Give me the bones." She's so good. She doesn't need the bones, but she does deserve the bones. So let's see. I did not stop for photos beside Lucifer. Things happen to me. Just things happen to me. So we landed at the airport, and it's a big airport. It's a big fucking airport. So I took a shuttle to the rental counter because I needed to pick up the rental that I had booked. And then I spent like 45 minutes at the rental counter with them telling me that actually, no, you need a credit card. Debit card won't work. You can't pay cash. You can't do this, that, or the other thing. You gotta have a credit card. And I was like, well, I don't have one of those. And they were like, well, have fun walking. And I was like, cool. They did give me a card for like some place where you could like pay cash for a rental car, but it was like, Dave's Last Resort or something like that. I'm like, I'll pass. But at that point I was like, okay, well, there's a train that leaves this airport, so I can get closer to where my hotel is going to be, and then maybe, I don't know, I can like call a Lyft or something like that. And that's when I was like, oh, U-Haul doesn't require a credit card. I'll see where the nearest U-Haul is, and I'll reserve a U-Haul. So that's why I was driving a U-Haul truck on that trip, because that was my solution to the rental car issue. But yeah, so I couldn't get the rental there. And so I went back, and when I had gotten dropped off by the shuttle, I had tipped the driver, and he had been asking me. I was the only person in the bus, and he had been asking me about tech stuff and things like that, and AI and Donald Trump and a whole bunch of things. He was really mad at Donald Trump. It was really good. Because this was right when the No Kings protest started kicking off, and the Ice Out of LA protest started kicking off last summer. So I'm actually really sad that I was in Colorado, like that's a protest I would have gone to. But yeah, so he was super nice and everything like that, and I tipped him because I was like, okay, cool, yeah, you tip drivers and things like that. And it was like $5 or something, like wasn't a ton. But then he was also the one who was picking up when I needed to go back, and he was picking up some other people who had like just dropped off their car. And halfway back to the airport, I realized that I had left my wallet at the rental place because they had needed my ID for checking things, and I think it was just my ID, not my actual wallet. But so he was asking the other guys where they needed to go, and he asked me, and I'm like, I need to go back to the rental counter because I don't have my driver's license. And he was like, no problem. He dropped the other guys off, and then in between dropping them off and taking me back to the rental counter, he drove me around on like a private tour of the Denver airport. So we circled Lucifer like 4 times, which, by the way, that's where we were getting. So it was going back to talking about Lucifer. But the statue itself is kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, and like not easily accessible, but it is definitely visible if you are like it's big and visible for like a long way around. And I think the fact that it's kind of in the middle of like a really mundane field makes it more jarring. So but yeah, that was. And then because that guy was so nice to me, like I went back and I got in the line, and then the line was like not moving at all to try to get my card. And then the guy like drove around, and he was, because I had tipped him again, he was like, you are the only person who has tipped me today, so you're the one who I care about more than picking up anybody else. I'm like, that sucks, man. And he was like, yeah, hang on. So he had been waiting so long for me to come out that he was like, something is wrong, she's not being pushy enough. So he walked in, saw that I was standing in the line, and then like went behind the counter and was like, she needs her driver's license, and like got it for me. I was like, thank you. Yeah, then I was able to take the train and go to the U-Haul and get the U-Haul. And then when I needed to return the U-Haul, I ended up having to take a Lyft to go back from the U-Haul return place to the hotel so that I could take the train to the airport to get out of town that day. And that was when I had the allergic reaction to the Lyft, and have decided that's the last Lyft I'm ever going to take. Lyft, Uber, whatever the fuck it was. I don't like being in other people's cars. People use scent stuff. So, but yeah. Anyway. But yeah, oh, spider. Sorry. Yeah. No, it does also seem like tempting fate for me to like, in theory, approach Lucifer. I'm gonna show. So, oh, cool. Sorry, I don't know if I warned enough about spiders. If you do not want to look at spiders, avert your eyes because we are looking at a spider eating fly. That's really cool. That's a really, really cool photo. Sorry, I should have warned more, but I think there is a possibility. Like, I don't think I have MCAS, but I just think that, like, given the cluster of autoimmune shit that I've got and the other allergies that I've got, I am going to close this just in case it is bugging people. But yeah, I think it's just that I have some autoimmune fuckery going on. Does anybody here want to hear the story of the time that I had an allergic reaction to a Hot Topic? Because that was definitely a time. So I was 17, and I started college before I graduated from high school because I'm me and things happen to me. And the deal is that basically I was not going to be able to go to the university that I had gotten into because of like family weirdness and financial aid weirdness and everything like that. So the plan was instead I was going to do a study abroad in France for 6 months. But in order to get that done, I needed to have at least 12 units of credits before the spring term started. So I started summer school, and that was actually like I had to ask like my summer school professors for permission to take the day off to go to my graduation in high school. So, you know, I was 17 but in college and had like just gotten out of high school, and this was the kind of thing, and I was going to the community college that my dad taught at and everything like that, and just like, that's the general vibe, that's the age, that's where things were going on, just kind of like a weird, not quite adult. But my family had done a day at like Universal City Walk, like, so it was going around and like, okay, cool, we're going to shops and things like that. And, we didn't want to go on rides or anything. It was just going around and like seeing a movie and going to the, Discover store or whatever. And there was a Hot Topic, and like, I was very much in an age where Hot Topic was a thing that I was doing. So I went into Hot Topic to go get some boots because I liked Hot Topic and I liked their shoes and everything like that. So I was looking around and like being like my weird little 17-year-old goth self and picking out my shoes and everything like that. And there were a couple of like, I guess we'd call them preps. There were a couple of girls who didn't seem to have much of a overlap with the interests of Hot Topic shoppers at that point in time, who were hanging out in the store, and they were having a squirt gun fight with Care Bear body spray. They were using the samples of the Care Bear body spray to have like a squirt gun water fight in the store. And like, as I have picked out the shoes that I want, I'm like, hey, cool, I have tried these on. These are the shoes that I want. Hell yeah. I turn around to go to the counter and get sprayed across my entire body with green Care Bear body spray. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, and both of the girls are like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, okay, cool, fine. Also, I do that voice well because I am like totally a SoCal Valley girl. I'm not from that valley, but I am in a valley in Southern California, so it works. So they spray the thing across me. I'm like, great. So I carry my shoes up to the counter, and by the time I get up to the counter, I'm sniffling. And by the time I pay, I am kind of sneezing too hard to talk to the person at the counter. And I've got my shoes, and I've got my card back and everything like that. And my family are standing outside of the store. And Universal City Walk is kind of like an outside mall kind of thing. And like the Hot Topic was like in the middle of a row of shops or whatever. And like my family are waiting for me, and I walk outside, and apparently by the time I walk outside, my eyes are mostly swollen shut. And then by the time we get to the end of the row of shops, my parents are calling 911 because at that point I was having trouble breathing. My like nose and lips were swelling. Like I couldn't breathe through my nose at all, and like my mouth was swelling. And so I had to get picked up by an ambulance and given oxygen on the way to St. Joseph's Medical Center in Hollywood. While my parents like had to go retrieve. Like it was also very weird. I don't think anybody went in the ambulance with me. I think they were like worried about the timing on that or something like that. So it was just like the EMTs. I don't remember because I was busy dying. Like I think my parents and my sister had to go like get their car out of the parking at Universal City Walk, which was pretty far away from where like all of this had happened. And so like by the time, and I'm 17, so I'm not technically an adult, but like sure, whatever. So like we get to the hospital, I don't think I had a parent there, and they're like talking to me about treatment stuff or whatever. The way they ended up treating me was by giving me a massive injection of Benadryl and a massive injection of steroids, and that fixed it. And a nebulizer treatment, I think. And the amount of Benadryl they gave me, like I think that's the last time my dad ever carried me. Like that was the last time like of being like carried as a child, and I was not small. Like I was probably not as heavy as I am now, but like I think I was like 170 pounds or something like that, and this height. So it's like not like carrying a little kid or something like that. So it was like, yeah, just my dad had to carry me back into the house because I was not waking up after that to like come back in. So, but yeah, that was my allergic reaction to a Hot Topic, and I made I made such an extremely 2004 post about this on LiveJournal, and the LiveJournal post about how I'm so excited about getting my shoes, and these horrible girls playing with fucking spray bottles at the Hot Topic is still out there. So yeah, I think I did use the line, I'm allergic to preps. But yeah, that is the idea. I was going to do 12 credits this summer. I have always, for like the way that Um, uh, uh, I had when I graduated high school, there was one other student who had as many credits as I did because I had taken so many classes, including so many summer school classes and like pre-zero period classes and things like that. And he was a salutatorian. So I tied with the salutatorian for the most number of classes. I have so many fucking college credits. Like by the time I transferred from the community college to the regular college, I had enough credits to have like a full-on bachelor's degree. They were just in the wrong area. By the time I graduated from like the state school, I had enough for like at least two degrees. And at this point, I have taken since 2021, I think 107 units on at the community college I'm going to again. So yeah, I just really like taking lots of classes. So 12 units of summer school. It was like that was a French class, an English class, a philosophy class, and I think a journalism production class. So it was only four, but like that's four classes over the course of 6 weeks. Each class was about 4 hours. Like just do lots of school. I like classes a lot. So but yeah, no, I've also like I've reacted really strongly to scents a few times. Like I had a really bad reaction to somebody's perfume once, and it caused a major fucking issue. And then I had a really bad reaction. I reacted pretty poorly to patchouli. And there was a girl in college once who was wearing so much patchouli that like I had to move away from her because I could feel myself starting to react. And then she followed me to like move to a different seat in class, and I was like, I can't. It's gonna be really rude if I move a second time. And then I ended up with bronchitis that like developed into pneumonia from that. So that was fun. But yeah, it's yeah, scents. And I just don't know what I'm going to react to. It was really funny with the thing that happened in Denver because it was the first time that it happened in a really long time. And like it was also the first time it had happened since I started taking Montelukast, which is an allergy medication specifically for people who are asthmatic because it prevents the inflammatory response that causes or is intertwined with asthma. And that was actually something that my doctor talked to me about when I told her about that after the fact. She was like, so do you have that reaction even with the allergy medication you're on? I'm like, yeah, and I also take Claritin daily. She's like, so you were on 2 allergy medications and you still had that reaction? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, have you seen an allergist? And I said, no. And she said, why? And I said, because I've never gotten a referral. And she's like, here's a referral. So I'm still a few months out from that, but I'm glad that the doctor was actually like, that I've actually had a doctor who was like, given that you've got like food allergies and things like that, maybe you should see a fucking allergist about it. So, yeah, Fluffy, thank you for reminding us that we're 3 hours into the stream. I ate before the stream today, so if anybody has other stuff to do, I definitely recommend doing it. But Tiny Bastard has eaten, and I have eaten, so I'm good to go. So, but yeah, I will. I probably do need to like chill at some point simply because recording streams this long is not great for putting up the VODs, but yeah, the little square pills. I love Montelukast is so good. It's literally life changing. Like the way that my asthma is managed compared to the way that it was before is, like I use my inhaler maybe once or twice a year, and that's so different than the way that it used to be. So like I I can breathe now. Like that wasn't something that happened before I got that prescription. It's ridiculous how much it changed my life. So Montelukast rules. It's such a good drug. So so the evergreen trees. My sister moved to Texas, and turns out they got cedar in Texas, and turns out she's got a cedar allergy that she didn't know about till she moved to Texas. But I keep forgetting about it when she comes to stay with us, and it's like frequently she'll come during the holidays or whatever, and so I've got like, oh, here are like the cedar and balsam candles that I've got around, and like every time she's like gonna come in, I'm like, wait, I need to hide the poison candles. So but yeah, I can definitely see where that would be hard. So the patchouli thing is annoying for me because it's like there's a ton of like I love going to metal shows. I love going to like craft fairs and art fairs and things like that. And it's just very likely to be around people who I am going to have an allergic reaction to. So it's just like that sucks. So, but yeah. Okay, so the time blindness check was actually a good thing because I have definitely been rambling for quite a bit, and I did actually want to talk a little bit about some media stuff because there were some stories that I happened across this week that I thought were interesting and wanted to discuss. So these are InfoSec kind of stories. They're privacy stories. So this is and I mean it's like I'm just kind of using these as yeah, I don't know what it is with the evergreens. Oh no, like the reacting to a pencil is rough. That's hard. Uh that's a fantastic phrase. This reminds me, you can tell I get ADHD from both sides, especially because my mom's side official family motto is late but in earnest. If that isn't time blindness in a nutshell, I don't know. Late but in earnest is a yeah. I'm late, but I mean well. So that's fantastic. Um, but yes. So uh, privacy data. Uh, the week before last, we talked a little bit about uh, maybe I didn't eat enough food before the stream. Um, we talked a little bit about Proton and privacy and what's the purpose of using a private platform like Proton? You know, are you looking to keep your information away from the government? Are you looking to keep your information away from the providers? That kind of thing. And the deal is, like, you know, if you have a state actor that's interested in getting your information, they're likely going to get your information. This is an excellent example of why it is still good OPSEC and still protects you from the government to have your information protected from providers. The FBI is not supposed to be buying location data and information on people. It is, in theory, supposed to be a violation of the Fourth Amendment for them to get that information without having requested it, without having a warrant served for it. They're not supposed to be able to collect that information unless a court has determined that they can. However, we live in a capitalist society. That information is collected by people who are paid to do so and will charge you money to share that information with you. And the FBI and other intelligence agencies are organizations that can pay for that information. Or, if they're not paying for that information, organizations like X or organizations like Palantir are absolutely paying for that information and then working with the government. So, FBI using people's location data. This is something I understand why people want location turned on their devices. I understand that it is very convenient. I do get that. And I also understand, you know, people sometimes will fall into the security nihilism space and say, like, you know, anybody who really wants this will be able to find it, so what does it matter if I do this anyway? And the answer is because fuck them. Because fuck them, make it harder for them. Because fuck them, cost them money. Because fuck them, make it difficult. It shouldn't be fucking easy. And it costs relatively little effort to say because fuck them. Do I use Google Maps to map locations to things? Yeah, I frequently do. Do I use that map to location data on my phone? No. I look it up ahead of time, I screenshot it, or I write down the directions, and then I proceed from there. I don't put that information on my phone, and I have location data turned off. If somebody wants to get a fucking warrant for the cell pings, they can do that, but at least fuck them, they'll have to make the effort. So, and so, security nihilism is a thing that I've discussed a little because there's also like a flip side to it where it's like this is something that comes up where people ask me, like, why do you put photos up online if you're, you know, worried about security and information data and everything like that? Aren't you worried that like your selfies are getting fed to like Palantir databases where people are going to know, you know, who you are and everything like that? And the flip side of the security nihilism is, to a certain extent, the piss is already in the pool. By the time we were aware of how this information would be used, a lot of it was already out there. You know, before the institutification and commodification of all of your information on the internet, you know, in 2006, it didn't seem like an awful fucking idea to post a fucking Facebook photo. There were absolutely people who were like way too like hardcore security pilled who like didn't do that, who like issued that specifically because they were like, I want to be like completely invisible online and never have like a footprint that people could connect to me. The deal is, they still got connected to it. Like a lot of people who the people out there who are very security conscious, who have been tracked down anyway, are a good example of the fact that if somebody wants to throw the apparatus of the state at tracking somebody down, there's very little that you can do to truly make yourself safe. But there are things that you can do to make yourself harder to find. And like, so there's a certain point at which you go, is the level of effort required to do this worth the trade-off and risk that's offered by doing it? You know what? I post selfies online because I like being able to socialize with people. I post stuff like this online and people can see me. Obviously, somebody could train an AI on my voice. Obviously, people could train AIs on my writing. Obviously, there are tons and tons and tons of videos of me and photos of me online, and it would be very, very easy to feed that information into Palantir and identify me in a whole bunch of settings. What that means is that if I'm going into settings that I'm concerned that like Palantir is going to be used to identify me, there are certain choices that I make. That's all. I can't allow myself to be so constrained by the fact that we live in this kind of security ecosystem, or this kind of attention and information ecosystem, that I'm unable to do things like this that allow me to communicate with people, or do things that allow me to, like, I don't know, talk to my family and share photos and things like that. So there's a balance that's important to strike, but there is also the side of like, you know, oh, well, what's the point of me like using a password manager? Because if I'm using a password manager, my passwords are still going to get out. And it's like, no. There's still things that, like, even if it's not the government, in order to make your life easier, in order to prevent you from having problems, in order to protect your information from getting out there and costing you money, it's worthwhile to do some of these things. But I don't think people really understand what categories those things fall into unless they're pretty seriously connected to this sort of information. So, like, I get why not everybody's up on it. I get why the security nihilism thing happens, but also everybody should be using a fucking password manager. So, but yeah, yeah. Proton Mail is not a nonprofit. They are open source, but not a nonprofit. Absolutely not. They are a for-profit company, which I also think is fine. The important thing to me is that they are open source. Yeah. Sorry, catching up on the chat. Yeah, I would so much rather know how to figure out where I'm going on Google Maps than have my phone and every app on it know where I am. So the other thing about it also, by the way, like, I will also use Google Maps on my phone by using it in the browser in Firefox, which is something that I don't know that a lot of people like think to do, but it's like the app will save my data. Like, it won't do that if I'm logged out in the browser in Firefox, and I can still use it for mapping. It just doesn't do like the live route, which I don't want it to anyway. But like, yeah, there are definitely things that you can still use a lot of the very convenient stuff. So yeah, I will have to read that Mother Jones article later. That's interesting. I get it. So Bixby says, as a former delivery driver, I am and remain convinced that you will better learn how to navigate around your area in town by looking at the map and figuring it out without instructions than having the navigator take you places, just setting aside security concerns. True. That's extremely true. And it is my most boomer opinion. And I understand that there are absolutely people for whom that kind of spatial relationship doesn't make sense, who don't have, like there are literally people who can't do it. I understand that. It is, however, also a trainable skill, and even if you do not have a sense of direction that like is inherent to you, you can have a map and a compass and learn how to read it. And as somebody with dyslexia who has gotten frustrated many, many times by people telling me that like you could learn to read music if you really wanted to, and it's like, I understand there are barriers. I understand that there are things that are going to make this harder. I can't read music fluently, but I can translate music. And that's the thing, is I think that people really do. I'm very concerned by the over-reliance on navigation tools like that. I have never liked them, and this may also just be like, I'm an LA driver. Like, I drive around LA. I have been driving around LA since 2004, and I have been driving on long commutes and in weird places and things like that, and like half the fucking city's under construction all the time. Like, there's different shit popping up all the time. You have to be able to get around things. You have to know where the fucking freeway merger is coming up because they changed where the fucking freeway merged. Like, so I really like, and so my dad's not diagnosed with autism, but we're pretty sure my dad's autistic, and I've talked about this a lot. But this is one of the things that is really interesting, looking at like my dad compared to like a lot of other parts of my family, because like my dad will have driven my sister and I someplace in like 1996, and I'll ask him now, "Hey, where was this place that we went?" And he's like, "You don't remember how to drive there?" And it's like, "You drove me there once 30 years ago. I don't remember how to get there," but he does. So part of this is also maybe I have been raised by somebody who is Maps George or Navigation George. But yeah, it's very funny. Like the various ways that people approach things like that. So but yeah. Setting Bitwarden up can be like getting started using stuff is almost always the hardest part, but I'm glad that Bitwarden is easier to use now. So but yeah, the idea that the government is paying Palantir to manage NHS data. There was a thing too, the NHS data for a while, they wanted to put that on the fucking blockchain, which is completely public. That's bonkers. But yeah, let me see. Sorry, I didn't realize how much of the chat I had not caught up on, or not caught up on. So the other thing also, by the way, if you have never experienced it and you don't know what it is and you aren't aware of it, if you have trouble with a sense of direction and don't know how to read maps, look for an orienteering class. Frequently, REI will have them, but you'll also be able to find like usually like local hiking clubs and things like that. If there's any sort of national park near you or anything, you may be able to find like a ranger-led like orienteering class, which teaches you how to read different kinds of maps and use a compass properly. They're really cool. If you spend any time in outdoor areas that are like far away from people where it's possible to get lost, it would be a fucking great idea to take an orienteering class. And if you are interested in learning how to read maps because it's something that you know that you struggle with and you want to get better at it, you can look for like videos on orienteering on YouTube, and it's great. And they're like little projects that you can do. It's almost kind of like geolocating stuff. Like, you know, you can set up like little scavenger hunts to do orienteering projects and things like that. So it's great. Yeah, spatial awareness can definitely be an issue. And I do also experience that, like, if I'm every time I'm like using directions to drive someplace, it always seems to take the longest the first time I do it because I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know how long the distances are. I'm like looking at the odometer of my car and looking at the notes that I've got. I'm like, okay, half a mile, so it says 0.2, so it's going to be this far, but I'm bad at estimating time and distance. So like, you know, being aware of it, but also being aware of like how to read street signs and things like that, and knowing, you know, okay, cool, the block numbers are going up, the block numbers are going down. That, you know, but on the other hand, when you're good at this kind of thing and you've practiced it a lot, one of the nice things about it is once you've driven someplace once, you will be better able to navigate there in the future without the directions. And if you have the directions, it's going to be much, much easier to navigate there because basically what it does is it builds up your skill for mental mapping. So it's not exactly that it gives you like a better spatial awareness, but it helps your spatial memory, is my experience with it. So, sorry, Zacharian, privacy and car related, would love your thoughts on this, and it is something that I fucking hate. So, let's see. Hold on, I'm still scrolling and catching up to stuff. Yeah, spiraling. There's so I think there's actually a documentary on it, but okay. Spiraling said, my mom dated/married a guy who had been a taxi driver, and his ability to get around even decades later amazed me. I get lost in my hometown all the damn time. In London, taxi drivers have something called the knowledge. In order to be an actual like licensed taxi driver, you have to pass a test on the knowledge, and the knowledge is the knowledge of the streets and ways of getting around in London, which is a really unique and interesting set of information about how to navigate something because London is like 1,000-year-old city that's been built on top of itself 4 times after getting burned down. And you have these teeny tiny weird little streets that only go one way or another, and there's a whole bunch of weird shit there. And like there's this incredible statistic or something like that that like the average traffic speed in London hasn't changed since the 1600s, because the issue is not the kinds of vehicles that are in use. The issue is the carrying capacity of the roads. Really interesting shit. And as a result of this, cab drivers have to learn the knowledge in order to get around the city and like not get lost. And it's not, you can't rely on maps for it, because things are going to change and be very fluid as like the traffic reacts to like what's going on. So being able to get people places quickly is not going, like routing on your fucking thing is not necessarily going to work, knowing how to drive around the city well. They have done some really, really interesting studies on people who have learned the knowledge and like the way that that has like impacted like their neural processing of various things and the way that they do like relate to things spatially and everything like that. It's really cool. There's some fascinating research about it, and I believe there's a documentary. I think I didn't watch the documentary. I think I read 4 studies instead. I can't quite remember. I remember seeing like clips or little bits or sections from the documentary. That may be something that I look up and post info on. But like, yeah, that's something that's really cool. If the sort of information about like that kind of like navigation skill is interesting to you, there's info out there that's rad. So, but yeah. Yeah, I started delivering when it was expected that we would buy a physical map to keep in our cars, so I'm aware that this is something. I am an old opinion, but sometimes you do end up somewhere that your phone doesn't work. I'll be right back because I've got something cool. I've got something cool for this. This is a Los Angeles Thomas guide. Thomas guides are map guides. This is the guide that my parents got me when I got my driver's license, because they were not going to let me drive around Los Angeles without a Thomas guide. This used to be pretty common for people to keep in their cars in at least LA. I know they make them for other areas of the country as well. Apparently, they don't make them for as many places as frequently, and I guess they only make them like every 3 years for like certain major metropolitan areas. So like they're still in production, but they don't make them as much as they used to, and they don't make them for as many places as they used to. But the deal is, this is the LA County Street Guide. So the way that it works is you find which like county area you're in, and you look at your like general maps and things like that. And let me see. I'm not muted, right? Okay. So, but yeah, basically, God, I'm trying to remember. So I when I bought my piece of shit Subaru, it had one of these in it, and it was like from '98 or something like that. So I didn't need it. But yes, there we go. Okay, cool. So you've got the community name, the city abbreviation, the zip code, miles to LA, and map page. So let's say you need to look up something in El Monte. The community name is El Monte, and you can see that the zip, well, you can't see because this is far away, but the zip code is, 91731. It is 12.3 miles to downtown LA from there. The estimated square mileage of the city is 9.56 miles, and the map page is 637. So we flip to 637. And here we are, South El Monte, and information about all of the streets and cities around there. So, let me see. My mom worked at an elementary school in El Monte, so I'm trying to see if I can find it. So it's Baldwin Park City of Industry. There's the 10, the 605. But yeah, basically, this is how people used to get around LA. And this is still, if, like, you're out of power and you're lost, like, the way that you get around LA. Like, I don't keep one of these with me all the time in my car, but if I'm going someplace that like I'm not certain I'm going to have my phone functioning, or if there might be so many people that the internet starts sucking, I'm throwing it in my car. So but yes, I love my Thomas guide. I love good maps like this. So but yeah, so yeah, GPS can be awful in London because of the tall buildings too. And yeah, and landmarks are, so the other thing about this is the idea that like you're using it to like improve your mental mapping and mental like memorization, or your mapping memorization skills. Like tons of people need landmarks. Like, and once you get there and you see the landmarks where it's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, that's the bank where I turn, or like, yeah, I remember that there's that sculpture out front there, like, and you start building a mental picture of the city on top of also kind of knowing how the streets go. When I was shutting down the office in San Diego, for work, it was the first day or two was like relatively uncomfortable because I didn't really know how things worked in the area that I was like working on stuff. But then like as soon as I figured out like, oh, okay, cool, like this is the schema for the streets that are north south, this is the schema for the streets that are east west. This is where the Walmart is located. This is where the the bank that I turn out is located. This is where, the place that I can go get coffee is located. Cool. Suddenly I have a map in my head where it's like, okay, I have like landmarks in various places. I know what numbers are where. Okay, cool. I can find my way around. So if I am looking for some place to go get lunch and I see that the El Pollo Loco is at like H and 13th, I now know which way to get to both H and 13th. So that's the kind of thing. So like reliance on landmarks is absolutely a part of this. But being able to also like build up how you understand the streets and the schema and everything is a good deal too. So my partner's family jokes that our city streets were laid out by blind people bearing pens with permanent ink, but London sounds like like that times 1,000. It is also because of like the fires, the fact that it's got like a million old buildings, and like it's like the London street map is fascinating. But yeah, it is like the tube is fantastic. It's much more walkable than. I'm trying to think if I've been in any city in the U.S. that is more walkable than London, and maybe New York. London is great to walk around in. So. And yeah, the streets can be laid out. It's really interesting when you see and compare the difference between like cities that had people who were planning them based on like a pre-planned grid and people who when they just sort of grew organically. Paris is interesting for that. That's also part of why DC is so fucked, is because it's based on Paris, and so Paris has its like radiating districts thing. So, but this was actually something I ran into with Portland. I fucking hate the way Portland's laid out. Portland is laid out like a fucking nightmare, and I hate that when you cross the rivers, the streets have the same name but also go different directions and aren't the same streets. It drives me nuts. I did not get enough time driving around Portland to understand it. It was stressful almost the entire time, but I did eventually figure out how to navigate across the rivers. Let's see. A couple years ago, I was talking to a librarian about a project she had done cataloging or digitizing a bunch of map holdings with some undergrads. Apparently, the concept of road atlas was totally foreign to these kids. Like, they were very confused about why someone put a road map of Idaho on the back of a map of Montana. Yeah. It's a different world. I mean, I will admit, like, I was in college when people started having like TomToms installed on things. Oh, that's right. I was going to look at a link. Sorry.